Hey everyone, and welcome. So, what if I told you that solving a Sudoku, coloring in a map, or even scheduling an entire airline's flights all share the exact same secret? I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? They seem totally different. But there's a hidden blueprint, a secret pattern that ties them all together. And today, we're going to pull back that curtain and show you exactly what it is. All right, so let's just jump right in with a question that, honestly, sounds a little ridiculous. What on earth does Sudoku have in common with coloring a map? I mean, really. One's all about numbers and grids, the other is about, well, colors and shapes. On the surface, absolutely nothing. But stick with me, because I promise you, by the end of this, you'll see how they're basically the exact same kind of problem. Okay, to get our heads around this, let's start with something super familiar. A puzzle that, we've all probably stared at, maybe even gotten a little frustrated with. Good old Sudoku. So the goal seems simple enough, right? You've got this big 9x9 grid, and your job is to pop a number from 1 to 9 into every single empty square. But, of course, there's a catch, and it's a big one. You can't have any repeats. Not in the same row, not in the same column, and not in any of those little 3x3 boxes. Okay, so if we just boil this whole thing down, Sudoku is really made of just 3 simple pieces. First, you've got the empty squares, right? Those are your unknowns. Then you've got your list of choices, the numbers 1 through 9, and finally, you have the rules you just can't break. No repeats. So keep those 3 things in your head, the unknowns, the options, and the rules. Now, this is where it gets really, really cool, because those 3 simple ideas, the unknowns, the options, and the rules, they're not just some random way to think about Sudoku. Nope. They actually form a super powerful blueprint that has a fancy, formal name. And it's a blueprint that things like artificial intelligence use to tackle some seriously complex problems. And that secret blueprint is called a Constraint Satisfaction Problem, or CSP for short. It's basically just a framework, a way of looking at a problem not as this one giant scary thing, but instead breaking it down into a bunch of decisions, options, and rules. So here it is, the whole blueprint right here. A CSP is always made of these 3 parts. First up, you have the variables. You can just think of these as the empty slots, or the questions you need to answer. Next, you have the domains. This is like your menu of possible answers for each variable. And last, but definitely not least, you have the constraints. These are the all-important rules of the game that tell you which combinations are allowed and which aren't. And boom, this is the aha moment. Let's map Sudoku right onto this blueprint. So, those 81 empty squares, those are our variables. The numbers, 1 through 9, that we can use, that's our domain. And those rules, no repeats in any row, column, or box, you guessed it, those are the constraints. See? It's the exact same structure, we've just given it a formal name. Okay, so we have the blueprint. We see how it works for Sudoku, but now let's see how this thing isn't just for number puzzles. Seriously, once you get the hang of this pattern, you're going to start seeing it absolutely everywhere. All right, let's circle back to that map coloring question from the beginning. Believe it or not, it is the exact same blueprint. What are the variables? Well, they're the countries or regions on the map. The domain, that's just our list of available colors. Say red, green, blue, yellow. And the constraint, it's that one simple crucial rule. No 2 regions that touch can have the same color. It's the same VDC logic, just swapped out for a totally different kind of problem. So, okay, we've got this neat little framework for defining problems. But so what? Why does this actually matter? What makes this blueprint so powerful? Well, the real magic here is all in the rules, the constraints. See, when you're solving a CSP, you're not just hunting for any old answer. You're looking for one specific answer that satisfies every single rule. So think about it this way. The rules aren't there to hold you back. They're actually your roadmap. They're the guideposts that eliminate wrong turns and point you straight toward the solution. And this whole powerful idea, this entire way of thinking, it all just boils down to those 3 simple parts: variables, domains, and constraints. That's it. That's the whole blueprint. So let's really spell it out. Why is this 3-part blueprint such a game changer? Well, first, it gives us a common language. Suddenly, a simple puzzle and a huge complex problem, like scheduling an entire airline fleet, can be talked about using the exact same terms. Second, it takes these big, messy, overwhelming challenges and neatly sorts them into just 3 manageable pieces. And maybe most important of all, it gives computers a step-by-step, logical way to search for an answer.
It's truly one of the foundations of how modern AI solves problems.
So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Start looking at the problems in your own life. Something like planning your week or trying to figure out what to make for dinner with whatever's in the fridge, or even organizing a big project at work. Ask yourself, is this secretly just a puzzle? Can I define the variables, the domains, and the constraints? Because once you start looking for it, you'll find this blueprint is absolutely everywhere. Thanks so much for joining me.